Jai Hind all of you. I am Dr. Rahul Bansal from Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. So this one is the next video lecture for the electronic devices KEC 301. So let us start. So in this video we will be discussing about the formation of energy bands in the solid, right? And in the last slide and at the last of the video we will be discussing about the direct band gap and indirect band gap semiconductors, right? So first is the formation of energy bands in the solid. As if you see the two diagrams, if you see the diagram, like this is the probability density function of the isolated hydrogen atom, right? Next, this probability density function is varied with respect to the radial distance. Now, if we combine the two hydrogen atom, right? So this is the overall. One second. So this one is the overall probability density function of the two adjacent hydrogen atoms, right? So this energy splitting is actually in accordance with the Pauli's exclusion principle, right? So if we combine the two hydrogen atom, right, then the wave function of the electron of the two atom will overlap to each other, right? Which means that the two electron will interact and result in the formation of lower energy band bonding, which is called as the bonding atomic orbital, right? And another one will form the higher energy bonding, which is called as the anti-bonding atomic orbitals, right? So this interaction will result in the discrete quantized energy level, which is like the splitting of the discrete state into the two state, which is in accordance with the Pauli's exclusion principle. Okay, so if I talk about the formation of energy band in the due to the Coulombic potential, well, so if you see from the diagram, this is having psi 1 wave function, okay, and next hydrogen atom is having the psi 2 wave function, okay. So two possible cases may be there, that is the bonding atomic orbital and the anti-bonding atomic orbitals, okay. So whenever these two wave functions are added together, right, so they will form the bonding atomic orbital, where the difference between the two will give me the anti-bonding atomic orbital, right. So if you see this bonding atomic orbital, this dashed line shows this is actually the potential with respect to the radial distance. So this dashed line shows the individual potential of the wave functions, right, and this is the combination of the two wave functions, right. So if we see, if you want to like classify this, or if you want to further describe this as, so the region between the two nuclei, the Coulombic potential energy that is represented by VR is lowered, right? As you can see from this diagram, this is like lowered, right? So which is compared to the isolated atom. If I compare the isolated atom with respect to the combined Coulombic potential energy, then it will be like lowered, right? So this is due to the attraction of the electron by the two nuclei, right? So the bonding orbital are having the higher probability density function, which lie in the region lowered potential region energy, lower potential energy level, right? So if I talk about the interaction of the original isolated atom energy level, which is split into the two energy level, that is the lower energy level and the higher energy level, right? So if the lower of the energy gives rise to the cohesion of this crystal, okay, And the next is the interatomic spacing. If at all it is further decreased, then the energy of the crystal will go up, right? And this is because of the repulsor of the nuclei. Okay. Next is this diagram I have like already explained. Next is formation of energy bands in the solid. So, if we take the case of silicon crystal, okay, so silicon are the fourth group element, okay, they are the pure form of the semiconductors. So, they are having the 14th element, this electron in the outmost shell. So, 4 electron will be there at the outmost shell, that is 3p4. So, the interatomic spacing, if at all I consider the interatomic spacing is decreased, then the energy level will be split into the bands. So, this is we have like already discussed about the Pauli's exclusion principle. So, this will create the outer n is equal to 3 cell. Okay. So, what we have? We have the 4n electron in the outmost cell for the silicon atom. If I consider this silicon atom like this one, once again, so it will have the 4 electron in their outmost cell. Okay. So, this 4 electron will be combining, once again, these 4 electron will be combining with the other atom to form the covalent bond, right. So, if I consider at the 0 degree Kelvin, so at the 0 degree Kelvin, the electron will occupy the lowest energy state, right. And as we know that this silicon crystal valence band is exactly have the 4n states. All the 4n electron will occupy this valence band states, that is valence band energy state. It means that all the 4n electron will be occupied the low energy state, they will not be moving towards the higher energy state, right. So, if I talk about the higher energy state, that is conduction band energy state, if I consider this as like higher energy state, conduction band energy state, and this one as the valence band energy state. So, valence band energy state will be completely filled, right, at the 0 degree Kelvin, and this conduction band energy state will be completely empty, so that the total conductivity will be equal to 0 in this case, right. So, the splitting of the energy level is in accordance with the Pauli's exclusion principle, which states that no 2 electron in a given interacting system may have the same quantum state, right. So, there must be at most 1 electron per energy level after there is a splitting of the discrete energy level, right. So, this is in accordance with the Pauli's exclusion principle, right. Next is we will be discussing about the metal semiconductor and insulator in this like video. Okay. So, if I talk about the semiconductors, so at the 0 degree Kelvin, valence band is completely filled, right, and conduction band is completely empty. If we see from this like diagram, so this is for the case of like semiconductor, this is the lower energy state, that is the valence band energy state, and this one is the higher energy state, that is the conduction band energy state. You can just write here conduction band, valence band, right. So, this valence band energy state at the 0 degree Kelvin, it will be completely filled, right, and this conduction band energy state will be completely empty. So, that if you see, no electron will be reaching from this valence band energy state towards the conduction band energy state, right, and the gap between these two energy state, that is EG, forbidden energy gap. It is the energy gap between the conduction band energy level and the valence band energy level. So it is like approximately equal to 1 electron volt for the case of semiconductors, right? At the 0 degree Kelvin, at the valence band is completely filled and conduction band is completely empty. So that what we can say? We can say that this semiconductor will be behaving like an insulator, as no electrons are reaching from the valence band energy state towards the conduction band energy state, right? Next, if we see the case of like silicon, there will be the same case at the 0 degree Kelvin, right? So smaller band gap of the semiconductor allow for the excitation of the electron from the valence band towards the conduction band for a giving amount of thermal energy. If we give some thermal energy to the electrons, then due to this thermal energy, a number of covalent bonds will be broken. Corresponding, the electron will be reaching from the valence band towards the conduction band, right? So due to the breaking of the covalent bond, the electron and the hole pair will be generated, right? And these electron hole pair will contribute toward the conductivity, right? So whenever this temperature is equal to 0, the semiconductor will be behaving like an insulator, right? Otherwise the conductivity will increase. Now if we see for the case of like insulator, this conduction band is completely empty at the 0 degree Kelvin I am talking about, right? And this valence band is completely filled, so that no electron can reach from this valence band towards the conduction band at any temperature for the case of insulators. Why? Because this energy gap, forbidden energy gap, that is EG, it is very large. It is greater than 5 electron volt for the case of insulators, right? So at any case, at any temperature, it cannot conduct. Insulators cannot conduct, and they will be having the conductivity which is equal to 0, right? Next is metals. So if we see for the case of metals, conduction band and the valence band will be overlapping to each other, right? So that these due to this overlapping, right, the free electrons are available, right, to conduct the electricity. So they are called as like they are the best conductors, right? Metals are the best conductors. Next is direct band gap semiconductor and indirect band gap semiconductor. Okay, so how does the recombination takes place? Okay, while returning from the high energy state to the lower energy state, these semiconductors can be classified into two different categories. First is the direct band gap semiconductor, and second one is the indirect band gap semiconductors. So if I talk about the direct band gap semiconductor, so this is actually EK diagram conduction valence band, okay, and this one is valence band, this one is conduction band, right? This point is said to be valence band maxima. This point is conduction band minima. So if you see carefully, if this conduction band this maxima, this conduction band minima is having the same value of K as the valence band maxima, in this condition, this type of semiconductor is said to be direct band gap semiconductor. Why? Because whenever electron are excited towards the higher energy state, right? So whenever they lose the energy, they will finally return from the high energy state towards the lower energy state, right? So when they lose energy, they will return back from this conduction band energy level towards the valence band energy level. Okay, and if at all this valence band maxima is lying just below the conduction band minima, okay, so there will be one stage transition from the valence for the electron from the valence band minima towards the conduction band maxima. Sorry, valence this conduction band minima towards the valence band maxima, right? So there will be one stage transition from the electron from the conduction band minima towards the valence band maxima, right? And this energy, that is the energy gap between these two bands, that is represented by Eg here, right? So this energy is released in the form of photon. Okay, so this is given by as k is equal to root of 2 into m into E divided by h dash square, right, where this momentum P is equal to h dash into k, right? So in the direct band gap semiconductor, there will be one stage transition from the conduction band maxima towards the valence band minima, from the conduction band minima towards the valence band maxima, right? And second thing which is to be remembered is energy is released in the form of photon, which is given by this one mathematical relation, right? So the example for the direct band gap semiconductor is gallium arsenide, GaAs, right? So this one is the best example for the direct band gap semiconductor. Next is indirect band gap semiconductor. Okay, in the direct band gap semiconductor, we have seen that there is a one stage transition, right? But in case of indirect band gap semiconductor, if you see, there will be two stage transition, right? So first, if you see the diagram, EK diagram for this indirect band gap semiconductor, this valence band maxima is not lying just below the conduction band minima, right? Or in other words, we can say that these are having the different value of k. If I say this one is like k1, then this value will be like k2. So these two are having conduction band maxima and conduction band minima and valence band maxima are having the different value of k, right, in the EK diagrams, right? So there will be two stage transition of the electron. First, electron will reach from this conduction band minima towards the a defect energy level, that is ET. Okay, first electron will reach from this conduction band minima towards the defect energy level, right? So this one is the first stage transition, right? And the difference between the two energy states, if I say like this one is like EC and this gap is actually EC minus ET. Okay, so this energy difference is released in the form of heat, right, which is counterbalancing the change in the momentum, right? Now next is, now electron is at the defect energy level, that is ET. Now there will be the second stage transition while trending from the ET towards the this valence band maxima, right? So this is called as the second stage transition. Okay, and the difference between the energy state, that is ET minus EV. If I say this energy state is having, that is EV energy state, so the difference which is ET minus EV is released in the form of photon, right? So in the indirect band gap semiconductor, we are having the two-stage transition. First electron will move from the conduction band minima towards the defect energy level, that is ET. Then in the second stage transition, electron will be moving from the defect energy level towards the valence band maxima, right? The example for this indirect band gap semiconductor is silicon crystal, right? So thank you all of you for giving your time. So this is all for this video. Thank you.